I was like a really good player.
Just the appreciation of basketball at all levels.
Yeah, I'm a player. I feel like I just gotta get on the court. You know, I feel like if I get the opportunity to get on the court, that's where the name comes from. Everyday guys and the everyday conversations we have. Okay, welcome to
Recording?
yeah. Welcome to episode 3 of the Everyday Guys podcast. Our official guest number 2, Nana. Welcome.
Appreciate you guys having me.
Yep, he is currently about to head back to your what year, Brown?
Year 4.
Year 4. So senior year at Brown, and we're excited to get into some good topics with him. So thanks for coming on.
I appreciate you guys.
Yep.
I mean, you and I have a relationship of, I trained you for, I think,
A couple years now.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I think if I were to describe who you are, I've trained a lot of guys too, right? And I'm at a position where I'm kind of training the guys that I want to also. It's not, I also want to have fun training guys too, right? But you, if I were to describe you, you are probably the single most focused person when it comes to training. Like, I've never seen like guys from prep level to high NBA level. I've never seen a single person that focuses as much as you do when it comes to like everything, right?
Yeah.
Like, I guess that would be my first question is, how does that come about? Is it your upbringing? Like, how does that come about, right? To be able to focus all the time.
I think for me, it's just understanding what my goals are and then understanding that being somebody in my position, being 6'8", quote unquote undersized in some ways, like I have to be like kind of meticulous with what I do. I have to like perfect little things for me to have a chance at what I want to do. So I think that's the main thing, and understanding like I've grown up always playing with guys who are better than me. So if I'm playing with guys who are better than me, if I don't do the stuff that they don't take serious, if I don't do that well and pride myself on doing that stuff well, then I don't stand a chance. I think that's always been my mentality, kind of like I have to perfect the things that nobody else wants to do. And even for me to have a chance of doing what I want to do, I have to like be good at the little things and like being focused with all that.
Is it something that's now come naturally? So, if you wake up, you come to the playground for a workout, you're not even thinking about being meticulous? Or is it like, okay, whatever, we're all athletes, we have days when, you don't want to train or whatever. Do you have to like sit in the car and be like, okay, today I got to focus extra? Or does it just kind of happen?
I think at this point it kind of just happens.
Kind of happens?
Because I just tell myself like, yo, like if you're serious about doing what you want to do, then like you like for this hour, however long, you have to go hard. And then you do your workouts, and then you have the rest of the day do whatever you want. So while I'm in there, I just want to have that supreme focus.
And you've been like that since the start of your career?
I think it really switched for me once I got to grade 11, grade 12. Once I went to prep school, and I think that was what really flipped. Just being around guys, like I said, they're better than me. The Canadian going to American school, seeing that, then I was like, okay, like I have a lot of work to do.
Gotcha.
And for me to get to that level, do what I want to do, I gotta like enhance my focus.
Cool.
I mean, that is easier said than done, though.
Of course, yeah.
Everyone thinks that.
Yeah.
And I go through a lot of players too, and they all think, they almost pretend that they want to make it to the high level, right? When they don't, what they do doesn't reflect, what
the goals are. Yeah.
Right. So it's like, that's one of the things that's really impressive, is that you do this every day, and the fact that you get to focus that much in a training session is impressive. You know what I mean? But like when you talk about, okay, some of the goals, let's say, like what will be your immediate goal now that you're going to your fourth season at Brown, and what will be your...
I think right now for me, like just trying to stay in the short term, my main goal is I want to get to the NCAA tournament. I feel like if we do that, like last year, you saw how the game.
Yeah. You guys
Tough Yale lost to Yale in the conference finals on a game winner. But
oh really?
Unlike one of the tough, it looks easy, but it's a toughish. Like he
was crazy.
Had like a little floater from 3 foot.
Okay,
3 foot.
One of those little bunnies.
Yeah,
it's a
oh my goodness,
wide open,
really
to the rim. And the worst part was I probably played my worst game on universe. 3 points, 1 for 9 shooting.
Damn.
So just knowing, and that was the first time in school history we got to the conference tournament. Being that close, now the only thing I just want to get back to the tournament, get to the NCAA tournament, make history, and then I know everything else will take care of itself after that.
Do you guys have the same team?
We lost a couple guys. We lost our seniors, 3 seniors, and then we lost one starter. He hit the transfer portal, but honestly, I feel like we have a good squad. We feel confident. We feel like we can get it done this year.
So do you think your role is going to change significantly from last year to this year, now that you're a senior, or?
Not significantly.
Yeah.
I just think I'm just gonna have to be better. Honestly, like I was talking to Ray about this a couple weeks ago. Like I just gotta be more efficient. Like I gotta score more. Like really on our team, it's myself, our point guard. We're kind of the two heads of the snake. We have guys who surround us who play great roles, but we just have to really like put a lot more on our shoulders and just get it done.
Yeah.
More efficient with it. And then, like I said, everything else take care of itself, I feel like.
So this summer, like Ray pointed out, you're very meticulous and focused with your training. What were some of the goals that you had this summer to develop for the senior season? Like, what are you kind of focused on?
Yeah, I think finishing for one.
Yeah.
I think from two, I forget. I wasn't good. I think I was 50% from two. And as a forward, like that's not good. Like when you add the 3-point shooting, then your percentage is under 50. And I know it's not all about the numbers, whatever. I know I'm a big numbers guy, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I think finishing, whether it's wide finishing, just different type of finishes, being a smaller guy, but then also like faster than guys, I have to have different type of finishes in my bag. And the second thing is just shooting.
Mm-hmm.
Like my coaches told me they want me shooting a lot of threes a game. And for me, it's more mental. So I just got to be able to shoot it and hit them, honestly.
People underestimate how much shooting is a mental component.
It's all mental.
You can have reps till you die.
Exactly.
Still, if you have that mental block when it comes to shooting, it's game over. Yeah, that's interesting to say. So were you always a 4-man, or did you have to deal with position changes?
Yeah, I mean, growing up, I was like a 5. Growing up, like elementary school, senior.
When you were bigger with everyone.
Yeah, you know what I mean, kind of a 5. But then as time grew, continued to work on my guard skills because one of my close friends, Josh Bosco, he's at Bucknell. We went to school together, roommates. So we'd work out together. He's a point guard. So I mean, doing some of the stuff he does, I feel like that kind of helped me develop, like being able to like dribble the ball, push the ball, stuff like that. But then also 4 or 5, you know what I mean? But I feel like I'm versatile, especially on the defensive end. Yeah. So that's my main thing.
See, like to me, it's like this part right here, what you talked about for the last like 4 minutes, it is one of the more impressive things that I can think of, right? Because when you talk to like even guys at the pro level, NBA level, like they don't really have
self-reflective ability.
Yeah, they don't have that. They don't have that exact,
calculated way of
about themselves.
Yeah.
Right. Some are more delusional. Some are more, maybe lacking a little bit of confidence in how they play. But this is like, to me, like when I look at you, what you talked about is exactly who you are. You know what I mean? And I guess the one thing that I do want to ask is just something that I noticed from training, right? I do think that, maybe I'm wrong, correct me if I'm wrong, but I do think that you do put a lot of pressure on yourself.
Yeah.
Just something that I noticed, right? Because to me, when it comes to training and coaching, I always come from a perspective of, okay, what is he thinking? Like what is his like emotional state like as well? Not just basketball.
Yeah.
Right. So when I see you do things, it's like I can see that he's putting a lot of pressure on yourself.
Yeah, it's crazy because my assistant coach at school, Coach Hirschberger, we have this thing where we call it
Sam.
Yeah, my guy Sammy. Yeah, we have we call it positive talk, and he told me 2 things. He says when you look at the best shooters in the world, the best shooter ever is Steph Curry, and when you look at Steph's demeanor, he's like a chill guy off the court. You know what I mean? He's laid back. Like if he misses some, you're not gonna see him react. He just calm. He knows he's gonna make the next one, whatever. Then you look at the worst shooters in the league, like they miss a shot, they're angry, whatever. And that's me as a personality in terms of like, at school we do these testing, it's like SD, whatever, and I'm a D, which stands for like I have a dominant personality, which my primary emotion is like anger and like passion or whatever, which is good, whatever, being a leader, whatever, but I also have to like channel that away when I'm shooting. Because when you're shooting the ball, like everybody says when you shoot, just be a pro. You're gonna make the next one, whatever. But like I know, like you said, like I'll shoot a shot, put too much pressure on myself, which is something I think I'm trying to cut out. Yeah. Like you missed. Like you can't get the shot back. It happened. You missed. You missed a free throw. You missed whatever. You missed. Yeah. So now the next thing is just pause. Like just make the next one. And you're not gonna make the next one if you're so worried about the one that just happened. So I think that's the main.
You're a shooter. So
it's an interesting thing just because you hear all the advice and you know what you need to do. It's like, how many times have I heard, really good shooters just trust the work they put in and they go out there and shoot. It's like, yeah, but when you're 0-3 in a road game,
you know what I mean?
Like you said, it probably boils down to who you are as a person. Yeah. I'm the same way. I think I lean towards the side of putting more pressure on myself. Yeah. And as a shooter, how can backfire. Yep. And it's interesting to figure out, like, how to move past that, like how to get past that mental block. Because like you said, there was actually a good thing when I was at ND sophomore year. The sophomore summer, we would play 1-on-1 in like this kind of closed auxiliary type gym all the time, like all the guys on the team. When we're playing 1-on-1 in there, guys are hitting crazy shots. You know, everyone looks like Kobe.
Yeah.
And the biggest difference is NBA players are able to take that confidence and that freeness of you know, a closed 1-on-1 gym to a packed game of 15,000 people.
Crazy.
And it's one of those things that I think is honestly for most players a career-long battle to try and get to the level of having this, because like Ray probably knows, I put in the work and you put in the work. So it's not like you're here, you know, not working and wanting to be a good shooter. You put in the effort. So it's I don't really know what the science to it is or how to, you know, get better on a specific scale, but it really is one of those interesting things that a player faces when they don't have less necessarily the mental makeup that is really, really good for being a good shooter, for this example. Yeah.
So do you think people are just born with it, or?
I don't know. We'll ask. Well, we can say something after, but I personally think that some people are born with it, and others who maybe aren't, certain paths in their career allow them to build it at a better rate than other people do. If you're constantly in a good situation where you're a valued player, you don't have a coach who hurts your confidence. And I think stacking that through an extended period of time helps you build it quicker versus somebody who isn't born with it, but is constantly dealing with, you know, things that hurt their confidence from an outside level.
Yeah.
And it makes it more difficult. I mean, I don't know what you think, but
I agree. I agree. Like you said, it's kind of like a career-long, some people have a career-long battle. Like, it's really just you versus you at that point. Like you said, like, it's easier said than done. Like, we're in the gym, like, guys are putting up the shots. It's not like we're wasting reps or whatever. I think it's just a matter of understanding, like, yo, you put in the work. Like, if you just, you know, just calm down, like, the shots are going to fall. You know what I mean? In a way, like, obviously it's way easier said than done, but I think just trying to, like, get that, like, is the main thing.
I think the positive self-talk is a big thing.
Yeah.
I really do. It sounds corny and it may be forced, but I think making it a effort to constantly speak positively to yourself, especially during games, can go a long way, just even subconsciously, you know what I mean?
100%.
Yeah. I mean, I deal with players like that all the time, like high school kids, right?
Yeah.
Now, yeah, some high school kids are really overconfident. Some high school kids just lack complete confidence. I even had a kid that lacked so much in confidence that Steph and I, after the practice, he would have to come up to us and say 3 nice things that they did. Then he couldn't say it.
Gee, really?
Could not say
like
it.
You made him go up to you.
We made it, like, it was like we made him say 3 nice things that they did in practice. Like it could be anything.
Yeah.
It could be like freaking clapping.
Yeah.
He could not do it. He could not do it. And then obviously the more and more you do it, he'll open up a little bit. But it's like that's what people don't really look at when they're watching basketball.
Yeah.
Basketball is it's a sport that has a lot to do with confidence and how they feel about themselves and how they feel, rather than.
I mean, both of us are players. You're the coach out of us 3. Would you rather have a player who is overconfident and you need to teach him to rein it in, or a player who lacks confidence and you need to build it? That's a good question.
And I think so. When you talk about overconfident kids, a lot of the times that actually comes from insecurity.
Overconfidence.
Yeah. They're saying they're acting like they're confident because deep down they're not confident.
Yeah.
Right. So I would much rather have a guy that is let's say overconfident.
Yeah.
And then kind of channel that energy into a positive thing, rather than a guy who lacks confidence, completely lacks confidence, and then build it up.
Yeah.
For sure. Right. Because at least you have
something.
Something.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the challenge, right? Most of the times, it's actually a lot more kids that lack confidence than overconfident.
Yeah.
Right. So that is the challenge, but I mean, that's kind of what you have to do, right?
Yeah.
And it's basketball is tough that way.
Yeah.
Mind game.
Speaking of confidence, when did you start gaining the confidence to feel like you could do something substantial with basketball?
I think for me, after grade 11, I think after my grade 11 season, because so I went to Crescent School in Toronto, my grade 10 year, had shoulder surgery that year. And that year for me it was a lot mentally. Like I was driving from Burlington to Toronto every day. My parents wanted me to go there, good academic school. So we ended up going there. It was a lot. Then grade 11, I got the opportunity to go to Vermont Academy. And that season, it was cool. I mean, I was just being around the guys, it was a cool experience. But I was a younger guy.
Yeah.
But then that summer playing AAU, that's when I really like, even though I wasn't playing much over here, like what I learned, like it's translating. Playing against my age, this is the first time I'm seeing it translate. And then that summer was the first time I played the CNIT tournament, and I played with Burlington Force, and I played like, you know what I mean? Like I'm playing against guys. I did my thing, and I was like, yo, you know what? Like I feel like I'm good. Like I'm one of the better players. I feel like. And from there, just seeing it translate, actually putting up numbers, because AAU is different. You're playing with other good guys. You can't really, you know what I mean, just do your thing. Yeah. But playing on a team like that, I was like, yeah, nah. I was like,
and
what were like some of the options that you had after high school?
So my first offer was Bryant, but Bryant, I don't know if you guys know anything about Bryant. They probably
we played them in a closed door scrimmage.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we
probably give out. I think it's June 15th, going into your junior year.
They give
probably get 50 offers.
Yeah.
Like
Bryant's known as
via text message.
Yeah.
So I'm I don't know this. So I get the offer. I'm like, whoa, yo, I just got a Division I offer. I'm feeling myself. You know what I mean? And then you go on Twitter and you see everybody and you got the same offer. You know what I mean? But yeah, after that, Brown was my first school, second school to hit me, really my first, whatever. And I mean, I was big into that just because I come from a house where like academics is the main thing. Yep. So for me in my household, it was really just I wanted to go to the best academic institution. But for me, like, I mean, I want to go high major. You know what I mean? I wanted to play basketball at the highest level as a competitor. That's what you dream of. That's what you watch on TV. You know what I mean? But that didn't end up happening because, I mean, going into my senior year, COVID. So we didn't get any AAU. That was probably right time. Like, that's when you start getting the high major interest, stuff like that. Boom, it shut off. But then I'm a big, like, everything happens for a reason guy. And I feel like going to Brown was probably the best thing to happen for me. I get to be in a situation where my coaches trust me. Obviously, my first year, I didn't play a lot, but my coaches trust me like, yo, you're going to be one of our main focuses, and then you're getting an elite education. You know what I mean? So I feel like it's a win-win situation, and honestly, I'm happy with how it's been so far.
Did you go visit other schools, or Brown was the...
Couldn't even visit. I mean, it's cool.
You didn't visit Brown?
I visited Brown during my junior year. That was actually the only visit I did. It was like one day, went to go watch them play against URI at Brown. They won, and that was the only visit I had.
So outside of, obviously, every school that's big on academics, their selling point is the mix of athletics, academics.
Exactly.
Outside of that, was there anything that the coaching staff specifically said, how they would use you, or what they saw in you that really made you think like, damn, Brown is a place for me?
I think for me, it was more like, honestly, it was really just like the athletics. Like, you're going to have a chance to play, obviously, if you earn it. The academics speaks for itself. But in terms of like the role, not really. It was just, I feel like I'm a player. I feel like I just got to get on the court. And I feel like if I get the opportunity to get on the court, then the way I play, like the hustle plays, that type of thing, I'll be able to make an impact, which will lead to trust. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah, I feel like that's what I was looking at.
I know your parents must have been so freaking happy. I know them a little bit.
Yeah.
They're huge on academics. I know when you committed to Brown, they're like, yes.
It was, that was their dream, because my grandpa lives in Rhode Island.
Okay.
So 5-10 minutes from Brown. So they're thinking, like, when I got the Brown offer, I remember I told my mom, she couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because that's all they think about. Like, my parents, I mean, they're from Ghana, immigrants. All they care about is academics. The basketball is cool.
Yeah.
But, like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Academics is the main.
I'm the same with my family then.
You know what I mean? MD. You know what I mean? So when I got it was going to be an Ivy League school. And out of Ivy League school, we felt like Brown was the right fit for me. So, yeah.
I mean, we should probably talk about the portal.
Yeah.
Right. You did enter.
Yeah.
But I see, like, back in the day, even 2-3 years ago, Ivy League players, Ivy League students would never even think about entering the portal.
Yeah.
Now, you saw a guy from Yale,
Yale, Harvard.
It's like, I mean, it's money, right? It's money, right? It's at the end of the day, it's the NIL, and it's just changing the whole game a little bit. Like, and was there a specific reason why you wanted to enter, or did you want to just test the market, or what was your thought process?
I mean, my thought process was, I just felt like it was in my best interest to hit the portal. I feel like in today's day and age in college basketball, there's so much fluidity. Like, guys staying at one school for 3-4 years just doesn't happen anymore. Unless you're like an Ivy League, you know what I'm saying? Or like a Stanford or Cal, one of those schools. So I felt like me and my family talked to my people, and we were just like, it makes sense to go in the portal, see what options are available to you.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I was banking on going in the portal, and if I do, hopefully Brown will take me back. But at the same time, there's a risk that they won't. Like, I was banking that they would, and they eventually, like, I mean, they told me they would.
Okay, that's
But I was
what I
like,
asked.
it's a risk.
Told you.
They told me after I entered the portal initially.
Okay,
Because I had told my coach I was thinking of it.
gotcha.
But keep in mind, this is after the season. So I go home for spring break for 2 days. And then I told him, I was like, yeah, like, I decided I want to test the market. And honestly, I'm happy I did. Because honestly, as a player too, it's kind of, I'm not going to say it's an ego boost, but like we were talking about earlier, like being in high school, you always dream of playing at a certain level, whatever.
You get the reassurance that
You know what I'm saying? You're good. Because sometimes, like, obviously you're doing well, but you're like, yo, like, you see guys on TV who you like, he's good, but I grew up playing with him. I feel like I'm just as good, if not better. So again, those schools telling you how they want to use you, what they feel like they can get out of you, your potential. I feel like it was cool for me. I enjoyed the experience, honestly. I ultimately decided to go back to Brown, which I'm happy about, but I did enjoy that experience for sure.
You might get angry for this question, and we can bleep it out, and then you don't have to talk about it. What was the highest offer? You might get angry.
Just go ahead, man. Do your thing.
I don't even know. We're probably going to have to bleep it out.
Yeah. Well, we can.
The highest was probably
Yeah, I mean, look, NIL stuff, like I said, we've talked about it a little bit, is just the amount of money and some of the opportunities. Like, it's becoming one of those things where a player's highest earning career period is honestly going to be college. Because I can speak on behalf of, if you're not an absolute stud in college, or you're coming out of the G League, the NBA, if you're going overseas in your first 2 to 3 years, there is a slim chance you're making over 50 to 60,000.
Yeah.
Good money considering the teams cover everything, but it doesn't even compare to what you can make in NIL. Like,
it's crazy.
Night and day difference. And it's just, I don't know how I would handle it if I was a player. So, okay, given the offers you had, why did you decide to go back to Brown? Like, how do you make that decision as a young guy?
Honestly, through a lot of the guidance of my parents, because their whole thing is, and even my coaching staff, when I told them, I mean, they were supportive of me hitting the portal. Obviously, they weren't happy about it, but they understood in today's day and age, it's just what's going to happen. When you play well, a lot of guys are more or less going to test the market. And then their whole thing was, listen, like, it goes back to why you committed to us in the first place, because you had higher opportunities other than Brown, but it goes to the 4-year plan versus the 40-year plan. Obviously, you could go to a school right now, and let's say you make $800,000 to $1 million in those 4 years combined. That's a lot of money. But then a school like Brown, you're banking on that 40 years with that degree. Even when you play, let's say you have a 10-year career playing basketball, whatever. What are you going to do for those next 30? You know what I mean? Like, having that degree, you're going to make that money if you obviously talk to the right people, do the right things. You know what I mean?
Because academic schools love saying that 4 for 40.
You know what I mean? 4
for 40.
I mean, we're like, you're still hooping.
Yeah.
I'm still in school. So now we're just waiting to see if it, comes true. But they love selling that.
I definitely think some of those schools, Ivy, every single one, and then a lot of the academic focused other school, like the alumni network.
It's ridiculous.
It's funny you mentioned this because Keenan Jepenson.
Yeah.
So I know he went to the same high school I went to.
Yeah.
We had an alumni game a while back, and he was telling me how he was kind of mentoring you a little bit.
Yeah.
And basically kind of trying to build this alumni and sell Brown in a way where you're competing. Keenan speaking is competing with these NIL deals that are trying to attract you away from Brown, and he's trying to explain to you how this alumni network could benefit you in the long term. And it's very honestly crazy that you believe that and fell into it, because I think many people wouldn't. They would follow money. They would try and especially as a young kid like yourself, they would just see the short term, and the fact that you're able to look past that and understand how it could benefit you down the line is really a good show of your character, I'd say.
And also, honestly, another thing also, just understanding like for me, I'm going into my 4th year. I don't have the benefit of having another COVID year, so I can't graduate, get a grad year. And my coaches were big. They were brutally honest. They said, listen, like, we love you here. Like, you come back, you've been a captain since you were a sophomore. Like, we have a chance to make history. If you make history at a school like that, we talk about the alumni, you could be good. You know what I mean? If you take care of business, obviously you're a good person, whatever. If you go to any of these schools, even if you play well, at the end of the day, you're a 1-year guy. The season's what, 6-7 months, whatever it is. You're a 1-year guy. So why leave, develop relationships from summer all the way to whatever it is, March, when you've had these relationships? Like, my coaches at Brown been recruiting me probably since 2019.
Yeah.
It's 2024. You know what I mean? So having that relationship with them also played a role into why I'm comfortable there. Obviously, I know comfortability isn't everything, but being comfortable in a situation, I know what to expect. My coaches trust me. I trust them. My teammates trust me. I trust them. I feel like we have a chance to do something special and be something. I can be a big part of that. So I'm excited.
Yeah, it says a lot about Coach Barton and Sam, and I know some of these guys are like, they're like genuine guys too, right?
Yeah.
I think if you didn't like them or if you didn't agree with a lot of things that they were doing, I don't think you would have
No doubt.
entertained it,
100%.
But yeah, it just says a lot about them as a staff.
No doubt.
They recruited some of our kids too, right?
Yeah.
And it's just honest, right? Instead of wasting our time, or if they didn't like this kid that we were pushing, just tell you straight up.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of people in basketball would just kind of keep you in the loop in a way and then just kind of waste your time, right? Whereas they're kind of like straight shooters, and they were good.
I think that's a lost art in
For
college
sure.
basketball world.
For sure.
Sure, yeah.
For sure. So what, like, I guess after your last year at Brown, hopefully you have a good career, get a good year. What's next for you? Like, what do you think is attainable? What do you think you can do? Like, what?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I feel like, with my confidence, I honestly feel like if I have a good year, we take care of business, we get to a tournament. I honestly feel like I could play at the highest level. Like, I feel like I can have a career, whether it's in America or overseas, wherever. I honestly feel like I can have a good career with the stuff I do. And honestly, that's my goal. Like, you got to reach, for the stars and take it from there. So I know that's definitely what I'm working
Some people
toward.
don't, though. We were just talking about.
Yeah. And I think that's where you cut yourself short, though. Like, some people are scared to say what their goal is. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, my goal is to obviously get to the NBA. That's my goal. That's my dream. It's been my dream since I was a kid. I'm going to work towards it. And then I feel like we'll just take it from there, see whatever happens.
Do you follow European hoops at all? Or, yeah, you do?
I think as more recently,
Yeah.
obviously,
The closer you're getting to potentially being in
that, and also just having seeing older guys, like even you, like, you know what I mean, being younger, watching you guys in high school and stuff, guys go through your college careers, and now you're overseas doing your thing. You know what I mean? Like, looking at little things, Swiss cultures, everybody follows Swiss cultures.
Yeah.
So they
why I'm asking is because it's so funny, like, Americans especially, for me, for example, in an off season when I'm trying to figure out where I'm going to go play next, my agent hits me up, gives me this team, that team, that team. I'm doing in-depth research, right?
Yeah.
What kind of league is it? What kind of style of play do they have? Where did their guys who just finished playing that year end up going next? A really deep dive into where I potentially could be playing, and that's not common. Like, a lot of guys who, especially Americans, going overseas, to them it's like they're going overseas just to, like, go overseas, right? And it's like they don't know which country they're going into. They don't know the history of the club. They don't know anything about it. Like, it's just like, oh yeah, I'm just going to go. You know what I mean? And I was wondering if you're one of those guys that would. Knowing how meticulous you are with your training, I'm sure it feeds over into other aspects of how you handle it.
I also think, though, it's more of a Canadian thing, to be honest.
Really?
I think, 100%. I think, America, like, not to speak on America, but I feel like a lot of the guys, they know the NBA, and then they know overseas. Yeah. Whereas in Canada, like, the NBA. In Canada, you got the CBL. In Spain, you got the ACB. You know what I mean? Every league, you have specific things. Okay, these 4 teams are in your league. These couple teams are in Champions League, Euro Cup, whatever. Like, I feel like in Canada, I don't know how to describe it. I just feel like growing up, the FIBA game is more, like, pushed on us. Like we have to learn it more. Little things. I don't know. I just feel like in Canada, it's more of a focus in a way.
Yeah. No, I agree. I'm not going to mention his name, but there was this guy who played in the CBL, and I was asking him what his goals and what was he looking for the following year because he's playing overseas.
Yeah.
And he goes, yeah, man, my agent just told me this club reached out to me and they have some interest in me. Partizan.
You know what I mean?
And I'm like,
come on, man,
brother, this is one of the major clubs in Europe, and you're acting as if it's like a thing. You know what I mean? It's not trying to act cool. It's genuinely not knowing how.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and it's just some of those things boggle my mind where guys honestly are entering a market that they know absolutely nothing about.
And it's crazy because those are like opportunities, you know what I mean? Some people die for it, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's a big opportunity.
But that's high school kids too, right? Like these kids look at colleges, universities. I had one kid. Oh my goodness. I had one kid that, you guys all know him. I had one kid that when George Mason reached out, he was like, Yeah, George Mason reached out, like Coach George.
Oh God, that's a good one.
Yeah, Coach George. I'm like, that's a school, right? He's like,
No. His name's George Mason.
yeah. I'm like, George Mason. It's an A10 school. It's a good school,
conference, yeah, and a
right?
good academic school.
But it's like, I'm like, all you guys are on your phone all the time. All you got to do is just Google George Mason and see what that's about.
Yeah.
But it's the difference between people that take the time to actually think about their career and think about where they're gonna go versus I'm just like whatever they throw at me, I'm just gonna take it.
But I'll tell you what, on the other side of the coin, some of the people that that would fall into that category of not properly researching on the same side, they are most time scorers who have so much confidence in themselves
I agree.
that wherever they're going, they don't care what the level is, what the deal is. They go, and I'm gonna do my thing.
And that's him, right? This like Dom.
Yeah. Okay.
It was Dom,
yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
Dom, he couldn't care less about who's looking at him,
Yeah.
who's watching him, where he plays. It doesn't matter.
So there's both sides to it.
So
you know?
you as a coach think like, oh, and there's
Yeah.
guys that are not as good, maybe kind of self-conscious about a lot of things. They're gonna do a lot of research and this and that, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know what's
right and what's wrong.
right or wrong. It's just like it's just different people.
Yeah.
I guess.
Agreed.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So it's just interesting to look at different perspectives in a way.
Like I fall into the category of, like I said, analyzing and doing it. Like Bill Cohen at Northeastern. I remember we were having a meeting one time and had a bad game or something. He was asking me my thoughts on what went wrong, how I played. I was in there speaking for 20 minutes before he could even get a word in. I was just like talking and talking and talking. You could see my mind was like racing. And he stopped me and he said the good quote. He said, "You have a thing called paralysis by analysis."
Yeah, okay.
And it's basically paralyzing yourself with how much you're overanalyzing. And that could be carried over into anything in life. Like if you think long enough about any decision, you can always find millions of aspects for or against. You know what I mean? And same thing playing basketball. If you analyze it deep enough, but then at that point you're not getting anything done by just thinking and not actually doing.
Yeah.
And I think that's interesting, to know, what the balance is between both and how it fits into the character of the person and,
Yeah, it's
What's
just always people that don't think as much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That are gonna become like greats in basketball.
Yeah.
100%.
Right. It's so funny, right? Like you talk to players about offensive struggles. Oh, don't think about offense. Right? Don't think about making a shot.
Yeah.
Right? Because once you start thinking to yourself, oh, I gotta make this shot, it's probably not gonna happen.
Yeah.
Right? So that's why the whole psychology part of basketball is super interesting in my opinion.
Yeah.
Right.
Agreed.
100%.
But for you, like obviously going to a high academic institution, you must think about what if basketball doesn't work out.
100%.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, is there anything particular that you want to be or you want to do or?
Yeah. So for me right now, I'm majoring in business econ.
Okay.
So I think that's like one of the more broad, majors. But honestly, past couple of years, I've been looking a lot into I feel like, I don't know whether it's like NBA front office, like I want to be around the game, but not just like from the coaching and the training standpoint, but more on like the
Interesting.
like the putting the
Front
team,
office.
you know what I mean? Putting the team together, that kind of standpoint. And obviously I know you got to work your way up to that type of stuff. But I feel like, because for me, like we were talking about a little bit earlier, like we're talking about podcasts, like every basketball podcast I probably watched, every everything. I'm a big just basketball guy. Like I love just going and watch.
Consuming
You know what I mean? Like if a random G League game's on, I'm probably gonna watch it. Like I'm one of those guys, whatever. So just putting the academic side with my love for the game, because like we talk about jobs and stuff like that. Like obviously I feel like with certain degrees you can go and get a job, but my thing is, another thing is I want to be happy.
Yep.
Like obviously I love the game, but I do want to be happy with what I'm doing. And I know hopefully it's around the game for the rest of my life, whether it's, if I'm not playing, doing something around the game. And if not that, I mean, shoot, I'm young. Hopefully I figure it out.
So you fast forward 20 years from now, the ideal job would be a GM,
I don't know if it's GM per se,
but just a high,
but somebody who's around the game making decisions, whether it's from a trade standpoint, salary cap, like scouting maybe, like just around the game, but on the business side for sure. Like that's definitely
I think for athletes, I mean, can't speak for everyone, but I think staying in the game after you're done with the game is honestly,
Everything.
yeah. Like, I mean, you see some of these guys. I'm obviously using the biggest examples, but JJ Redick, Charles Barkley, Shaq, those guys who are able to have successful careers and then almost instantly shift into a basketball space off the court is wildly impressive. And I think for guys who go to good academic schools and who have business knowledge, just like yourself, I think a role like that you mentioned, a front office aspect would be the dream.
You know what I mean? Like, even when you hear the way these guys talk, like JJ Redick, I don't know if you guys are watching this stuff, but like,
all his podcasts,
you know what I mean? You hear the way he breaks down the analytics.
Yeah.
And then on the other side of that, he was a player.
Yeah.
Like, he was in the locker room, so guys are going to relate to him. He's a cool guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I just look at that like, yo, that would be dope. And obviously he's a coach.
Yeah.
But like, I feel like just being around the game, obviously studying it from the analytical, and then being able to, you know, relate to guys in a way. Just, I mean, having a cool blend. I think that's something.
Just from hearing everything about you now, with how meticulous you are, and you know, your love for basketball as a whole. Do you find yourself watching film a lot of yourself?
Yeah.
Like, do you analyze the film a lot?
A bit too much, bro. Like,
really?
Yeah, in a bad way sometimes, to be honest.
Like what's your like? Talk me through a game just finishes, good or bad. Like, like you're watching film. What's going through your head?
Honestly, if it's bad, I probably can't watch it for a little bit.
Okay.
Like, or my stomach, I can't. You know the one where you can't sleep? Your stomach you just feel some type of way.
Yeah.
But yeah, like if it's good, I mean, I'll go watch it. Like, that's my problem. I'll watch, if I play good, I'll watch it, and then I'll miss a bunny. And then I'm like, damn. And I'm rewinding that bunny 10 times.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Just soaking the negative.
You know what I mean? But one thing that I'm happy with my coaches is me and my head coach, after every game, he'll cut up like all my clips defensively and offensively, whatever, makes, misses, everything, missed assignments defensively, whatever, and then we'll just watch it one-on-one.
Really?
So just being able to have, like, I'm watching it by myself, so that when I go watch it with him, I'm able to, over here, I messed up this, and that, or I did this well, but I could have done, you know what I mean? Little things like that.
I'm sure you're the same way, but definitely watching film with somebody else who has 100%. A less invested interest in, because, you know, it's you watching yourself.
Yeah.
Like you said, when you're by yourself, sitting in your bed watching the game back, you can be a lot harder and focus on some things, whereas a coach who's just trying to be more, you know, descriptive in what you're doing, right or wrong, I think it's a lot easier and more beneficial for a player to really, because I think, like you probably see for yourself, a lot of times you maybe play a lot better than you actually think you did.
100%.
You're watching back film and you're focusing on the negatives. When you look at it as a whole, then it's like, all right, the game wasn't that bad. Maybe I missed some shots, but I impacted the game in other ways. And I think it's important for players to see that with somebody else telling them to.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, even for the confidence. You know what I mean? I agree.
I mean, that is it. Like, I don't think a lot of coaches in NCAA just cuts up film.
I was surprised to hear it. Yeah.
So I think it's you probably can't answer it because you guys, I mean, you probably could, because you've been at Notre Dame, but then you went to Northeastern, different programs. You didn't, but because it's an Ivy League school, you're not really allowed to get a lot of transfers in older guys.
Yeah.
You're probably getting younger kids, high school kids, and then you're kind of almost forced to develop them in a way. Whereas if you're looking at higher level schools, like high major or whatever it is, they're able to just get guys.
Rebuild.
So if this kid doesn't work out, I'm moving on to the next one.
Yeah. Right.
You could probably speak on that more because you've been at Notre Dame, which is a high major, to a Northeastern, probably mid major.
I think
different, right?
I think at Notre Dame, the individual film study wasn't really a thing, but to put a little asterisk next to it, I wasn't a major piece on ND, so I didn't necessarily have conversations with guys who were in key roles. So I don't know if they did film study, but for me, I never really, like, a coach never reached out to me to do film study, but I was also playing only like 10-something minutes a game. So it was difficult. At Northeastern, it wasn't a regular thing, but if you wanted it to be, it would. So each player had their own, you know, there was a bigs coach, there was a guard coach. So I had Brian McDonald, and anytime I wanted to, like, hey, let's cut up some film and talk about he'd cut it up. And so it was, I think you'd have to, you know, reach out and take initiative, but at Northeastern, they were a lot better with trying to make sure the players had a, and it goes to the same thing.
The reason why I kind of bring this up is because I actually had a conversation when I was at Brown last year with Sam, your coaches, about development.
Yeah.
Right? Development in Canada, development versus in the States.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm so confident to say that we have better coaches in Canada.
Okay.
But because there is such a larger pool in America when it comes to players, and versus Canada, where it's, you know, lesser pool, I think that we have to focus a lot more on developing the guys that we have versus in the States, it's like, this kid doesn't work out,
Turnover is
next
like,
one.
yeah.
But then you probably have, in the States, you get greater players, because if I'm one of those guys that got cut and I have to really, you know, go over the adversity that I'm dealt with, it probably builds you a little bit stronger character and whatnot, and you become better in a way.
Yeah.
Right. But I
agree.
think that here we just have to focus a lot more on development. And I think that's just interesting, depending on, you know, depending on the environment you're in, depending on the circumstances that you're dealt with, you just focus on different things in a way.
Yeah.
Right.
So just to go back to, I wanted to ask another question on the transfer portal. When I entered, the first, so I guess your name appears and the coaches know that you're in there and the calls start coming in, and it can get pretty hectic.
Yeah.
Right. For you, was it difficult to navigate that, or you ultimately were always like, okay, I most likely want to go back to Brown. I just want to see what's out there. And you didn't let it kind of consume you, or were you lost in the sauce a little bit? Like,
it was a lot, man.
Really?
I was like, because I was battling, like, from a loyalty standpoint, I was like, I just told my coaches, like, my decision is final. Once I tell them my decision is final, okay, next step, I'm putting my name in the portal. And everything is so quick.
yeah, it really does.
You know what I mean? So I remember it happened all within a span of like an hour 30.
Yeah.
I'm in Zoom class and I'm filling out the paper to put my name in the portal. You know what I mean? So when these coaches are like hitting me, I don't even really feel that good about it, because I'm just kind of sick in my stomach, man. Like, I just hurt people that I care about. Like, I just spent the last 6-7 months in the trenches with. We lost the way we did, whatever, and now I'm leaving. Like, at least that's my thought. Like, I'm in the portal. I'm probably gone. You know what I mean? But then it gets to a point where you talk to people who care about you, and they tell you, like, listen, like this is a blessing. Like, you're in a position where you have schools that want you. Like, you should cherish it. It's not, oh, I don't know. It's a blessing. Embrace it. And at the end of the day, you're going to make the decision that's best for you. And, like, that's what it has to be, the decision that's best for you. You can't really think about, oh, but hurting so-and-so's feelings, or I promise. No, like, you got to do what's best for you. Because at the end of the day, like, one thing I realized in this game, like, everybody's going to do what's best for them. It's just what it is.
Yeah.
Like, it's a business.
Yeah.
Like, NCAA now more than ever, and it's a business. So you have to do what's best for you, honestly, you and your family.
I know. I want to just see if it's the same for you. So when I was coming out of high school and I was talking to a bunch of schools and figuring out where to go, I was taking in a bunch of information. I'd say I was a little less kind of, I didn't really know what to look for, right? I would believe more things and whatnot.
Yeah.
The second time around, when I was now a senior, I was very, very focused and knew exactly what I wanted to hear, what I was looking for, and I could sift through the bullshit a lot better.
100%.
So I'm wondering if it was the same for you.
Yeah, 100%.
Because those coaches, they give you those.
They'll tell you whatever you want to hear.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
And those are the coaches. They tell you whatever you want to hear. You know, okay, I can't take you serious.
Yeah.
You just tell me, and then I get there, and it's gonna be a whole nother situation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But yeah, I think just really like talking to the coaches, like you said, you go in, okay, I want this, and this in terms of like if this school can, from a basketball standpoint, I feel I can achieve this. I don't know if you look at academics, whatever, I can get this out of this, and whatever it is, your third option, my family, whatever, like. These three things, if they meet it, then it's something to consider. If they can't like help you with those three, then it's okay, I can't really consider you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And because the first time around, you're really just happy to be going. I know I was just happy to be
To go through the process.
I'm a Division I player. Like I reached my goal of going Division I, but now it's like, okay, I know what I want. Like, who's gonna allow me to get to that? What I want to get to, like the easiest or the best way.
So obviously money wasn't a driving factor, because otherwise you wouldn't be going back to Brown.
Yeah.
So like what would it have taken? What kind of offer, not money wise, I'm just saying, what kind of things would you have needed to hear in order to leave Brown?
Honestly, this is probably gonna be the first time I'm saying this. Like, I was only going to leave Brown for an elite academic institution.
Okay.
Or like that provided me the like a good
grad program or something.
I'd be a senior.
Oh, okay, true.
That provided me a good obviously NIL opportunity while having a good opportunity to get to the next level. Because like obviously, as much as everybody says it's your decision, like it's my decision, but you know, you know what I mean? My parents aren't going to let me go to any school. As much as I wish I could know it's my decision, like it's a family decision, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So really that eliminated 90% of the schools right away. So then you really got to look at these schools, the small pool, and then you just got to make the right decision.
Decided Brown.
Yeah,
exactly.
But the ability to think for yourself and make an educated decision for yourself and trust your research isn't something that a lot of kids do nowadays, right? So that's one of the things that I did with one of my players was, okay, whatever they're saying, it could be 10% bullshit, it could be 95% bullshit. They're gonna say whatever the hell they want to get you, right? So we have to come from perspective of, okay, we got to do a lot of our research on our own, and then go from there, right? So one thing that I did with this kid was just watch a lot of film, and I remember we went on a visit, and then they were saying things stylistically what he would want to hear, right? We move the ball, or we love Europeans, and we play 5-out basketball. Everyone shares the ball. Once he got out of that room, he's like, he comes up to me, he's like, oh, they're bullshitting. Right? But I think that's a way for you to not get burned in this business of a lot of lies. Right? A lot of guys they're just a lot of guys that at the coaching level, right? Coaches, they just say a lot of things that are just not true. Which is unfortunate, but at the same time, this is kind of how it works.
It's business.
And so now you head back to Brown,
like end of August.
And do you guys really like? Do you think you're the team to beat?
I honestly do. I honestly do. Like, I'm not going to discredit Princeton and Yale. Princeton lost, I think, 3 games all year, and then Yale, they represented the Ivy League in the conference tournament. And then obviously, I mean, you got Cornell, Dartmouth, Harvard, a bunch of other teams. But I honestly do feel like with our senior core coming back, me and our point guard Keno leading the charge, I honestly do feel like we can do it. Like, if it's gonna get done, this is the year to do it.
Do you guys have any good new guys coming in or no?
Yeah, we actually, our freshmen, we got a couple good freshmen. Apparently one of our freshmen, I mean, they can all help us if they obviously earn that opportunity. We're really excited. I'm excited to play with one of our freshman guards. And then we have a JUCO transfer, which is, when you hear JUCO going up Brown, you know, it never happens.
Yeah, it's a pretty crazy jump.
Crazy, right? But we're excited. Obviously, my guy Kalu, he was my other guy in the front court. He left to go to St. Louis. But we feel like this guy can, you know, step in and have a big role with us. So we're excited. We're excited, honestly. And our whole starting 5 besides Kalu is coming back.
Nice.
We were a young team, so we're excited. We feel like if we're gonna get it done, this is the year to do it.
I'm just speaking off of my experience with Ivy League basketball, which I've never played in the conference, but I think it gets a pretty bad rep among all of college basketball. That is, you know, it's just Ivy League basketball. Obviously, these teams that have come out of your conference have shown in the tournament that they can do some damage. So I wanted to ask you, like, your experience playing in the conference, like, how challenging do you feel it is? Like, do you feel like it compares to the high major conferences in college basketball, the mid-major ones? Like, where do you think it fits?
I mean, honestly, I think this year we were ranked, I want to say 11 or 12 in out of all the conferences. Like, I mean, 2 years ago, you see Princeton. I think they went to Sweet 16. Tosin Wembanyama, NBA, Detroit Pistons. Last year, you got Yale. They beat Auburn. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I think our league shown. I mean, Princeton, even though we beat them in the semis, they lost 3 games all year. People were talking they could have been a bid or whatever. Like, the Ivy League has some players, man. They got some guys, honestly. I feel like every team has a couple guys. Like, he's in the Ivy League, but he could be so and so. Like the league is good. I honestly think so. Obviously, it's a little different now. I'm curious to see how they adapt with guys leaving through the NIL and stuff. Because this year, like, we lost some guys. We lost a lot of like good underclassmen, but I think the Ivy League it's a little underrated. People don't give us the full credit, but then you see in the tournament we shot guys. You know what I mean? So I think that shows for itself, of course.
Yeah, I mean, it was refreshing to hear from a guy like you, because that's something that I preach to our kids, is that you got to think of education, right? And you gotta use basketball to get good education and set your life up. So I think hopefully a lot of people listen to this and learn from this perspective as well, right? Like, I think especially nowadays with all the social media and whatnot, like these kids are always thinking about the highest thing ever, right? Like what is gonna get me the most amount of Instagram likes and most amount of eyes, and I think a guy like you that actually had a lot of options to go somewhere else, staying at Brown, being loyal, and getting good education, I think there's something to be proud of, right?
Agreed.
And if you are able to, if you're fortunate, and if you're good enough to make it to even a better level, I think that's gonna impact a lot of the kids.
Yeah.
So
I agree. I mean, and also it just shows, like, honestly, 2024 with all the social media, everybody has a phone out. Like they say, if you're good enough, they're gonna find you, right?
Yep.
Like we all, like, you can go watch a team play and you see, yo, that guy's a stud. His team might not be that good, but that guy's a stud. So if you're good enough, they're gonna find you. I mean, that's the main thing. Also, my coaches were big on that. Like, look at guys who come from certain schools, but the main thing though, you have to win. You cannot just be at a
Very true.
You know what I mean? You can't be a guy and lose games. Nobody's gonna take you serious. But if you can impact winning, everybody wants a winner on their team. You know what I mean? Like, obviously they were on the national championship team, but I look at a guy like Cam Spencer, who's on Memphis right now from UConn. It's like, yo, that guy's a stud.
Yeah.
And everybody who talks about him, he's a dog. He's a winner.
Right.
He's going to impact winning. He brings winning culture. You know what I mean? You have to be one of those guys.
And that's something that translates to every level. Whether you're just starting out playing, whether you're in college, whether you're in the pros.
Yeah.
If you can build a resume and a career that demonstrates that you are a winner,
Yeah.
your stock,
You're good.
Because there is a truth to the fact that some guys know what needs to be done to win.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be from a statistical standpoint. It could be a locker room. It could be a winner wins.
Yeah.
Plainly put, a winner wins. And I think people can notice that. So
Yeah.
like you said, I think your decision to go back to Brown, saying no to some of the high major programs and the offers that I'm sure you had, I think if you can demonstrate that you are a winner and that you went back to Brown for a reason, I think it'll pay tenfolds in what these NIL offers that you could have had this year would. So,
and I mean, they say you gotta, like, go through it. You gotta lose to eventually win, right? They say that. I mean, obviously in the NBA they say that. I mean, shoot, the way we lost, like, if that doesn't translate to something, you know?
Yeah.
We'll see what happens, obviously.
Yeah, that's good.
Well,
Yeah.
That's it.
Yep. Thank you.
My guys, appreciate you guys coming out.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
My guys.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Sir.